On January the 31st, two armed men entered the Boatman Pharmacy around 5:30 in the evening. Once inside, one suspect directed the robbery, while the younger stood guard at the front door.
I want narcotics, Dilaudid, and morphine.
The pharmacist put the drugs in the sack, and the suspect then went to the cash register and emptied the drawer. He was described as a white male in his 30s, about 6'1", wearing a fatigue jacket, a OSU hat, and pantyhose over his head. As he backed out of the pharmacy, he gave the sack to his younger accomplice, described as a white male in his teens, 5'7", 150 pounds. He was wearing a blue baseball cap and pantyhose. Both were last seen heading north from the pharmacy. If you have any information about this armed robbery, contact Crime Stoppers at 235-7300. You could earn up to a $1,000 reward. For Crime Stoppers, thank you very much. I'm Detective Sugar Smith.
And so when you reduce personnel, that's a tremendous amount of savings. Everyone else is that, something will happen. Basically, you're talking about 5,000 teachers because it costs $20,000 for a teacher. So
I'm Jeff Fowler. The head of the Department of Human Services says the cuts being proposed could have a devastating impact on many of his programs.
People are going to be hurt by these cuts. People who cannot afford to be hurt and who need our help for, in some cases, life-saving reasons.
Fulton, who heads the state's largest agency, said he's now faced with cutting areas that before had been untouchable, including welfare services. He is also now considering closing one or more state institutions. But there is a very real fear that the cuts could have tragic consequences in other areas. For example, child abuse caseworkers are already overloaded. Some cases they can't get to for days or even weeks. And one caseworker says further reductions in staff or money could be devastating.
If we cut that staff even more and increase their caseload, there's going to be children at risk because we can't get out to them. We don't have the time or the resources to be able to do that, which would mean children are going to be hurt and they're going to be killed.
Robert Fulton agrees.
It does indeed. We'll have to classify, with the legislature's help, some of these complaints as being the least likely to involve real danger to children. And so we're going to have to make some judgments that we don't like to make.
If the cuts go through, there will be staff reductions or furloughs in the department, and no program will be immune from the budget-cutting acts. Jeff Fowler, News 4 at the state capitol.
Karen Powers has always thought of herself as healthy, but these days medical attention can be required immediately with no warning. It all started for her about 2 years ago, but wasn't until emergency surgery that Karen found out she had Crohn's disease, an inflammatory disease of the bowel.
It's very embarrassing. It's not something you just come out every day and tell everybody, I've got diarrhea, and people don't understand because it's nothing you can physically see in someone. It's just something that happens.
You can imagine your lip being sandpapered until there's no lining on it at all. That's what they look like inside.
What causes that?
Nobody knows.
You really don't know what it is. It's got so many symptoms, it could be anything. I was diagnosed as for stress, for colitis, for nerves, for gallbladder. I was diagnosed as all kinds of things, took all kinds of pills for a year and a half, and then they finally, after exploratory surgery, told me it was Crohn's.
Crohn's disease usually involves the lower portion of the small bowel, but can involve the entire colon. The lining becomes red and inflamed for reasons not yet understood, possibly triggered by a bacterial infection. Symptoms include abdominal cramping, diarrhea, fever, and weight loss. Oftentimes, those symptoms will occur, and then the patient will get better for a while. Until now, the most common medications, like azalfidine and cortisone-type drugs, have brought severe side effects.
We're very enthused about these medicines because they don't have side effects. They don't seem to have any side effects at all, and they seem to be extremely effective, at least as effective as azalfidine, maybe more so.
Patients selected for the drug studies will receive free medical exams, medicines, and some monetary compensation.
There are 3 sheriff patrol cars roaming the roads of Pontotoc County. 6 deputies drive those 3 cars. There would be more cars and more deputies if there was more money. There would be more uniforms and radar detectors, too. The money just isn't available in the budget. The last few years have been economically tough, but the last few years have given Sheriff Don Kaiser the opportunity to raise a little money in his own way.
This is my 4th year to have some sort of a concert of some kind, and it does help a lot. It sure does.
The folks who work for Sheriff Kaiser are betting on a sellout, or at least hoping that the Music Palace in Ada will be packed. It could mean up to $4,500. That will buy those radar detectors. It won't buy some other needed things.
Okay, 18. Take your 3 to 3.
Well, I'd like to see us get more personnel, salaries bigger, and also more and better equipment. That's what I'm striving for.
In Kaiser feels where there's a will, there's a way. Who knows what he's got planned to beat the budget next year? Dan Slocum, News 4, Ada.
When you're dealing with the unnatural death of a 2-year-old girl and a 4-year-old boy, and that being the entire family of the 2 parents, that's pretty tough, pretty tough.
Ryan Hensley was only 4. His sister Krista would have been 2 in April. Today, in a tearful memorial, Elk City tried to come to grips with their murders.
Our love goes out to you as you have experienced this loss from here on earth, the tragedy that has come to your family. It reminds us all, once again, that life here on earth is just a vapor and soon it passes away.
The violent deaths of two small children has touched nearly everyone here. This morning, more than 100 people sat in silence as Ryan and Krista's parents said their goodbyes.
And we love them so much, and this is like she said, they're in a better place than we ever know, and our love is still with them.
This song is for them. They loved for me to sing, and I want to do this for my children. Jesus loved the little children, all the children of the world, red and yellow, black and white, they are precious in His sight. Jesus loved the little children of the world.
What no one here understands is why it happened. Police won't talk about possible motives, but they do expect the 16-year-old unnamed babysitter to be charged with the crimes tomorrow.
I've spoken with the district attorney this morning, and we are still trying to put together sufficient paperwork, etc., to hopefully file the formal charges tomorrow.
On this day of sadness in Elk City, police are now saying that the parents of the two children had originally wanted to use a different babysitter Friday night. But when she was unavailable, they ended up using the 16-year-old who is now the key suspect in the children's murder. Jeff Fowler, News 4, Elk City.
When the DeBartolos filed their 17-pound, 1,500-page license application, most observers felt the powerful group would have no trouble in their attempt to build an $80 million racetrack near the Oklahoma City Zoo. But delays with the Racing Commission and now new demands by the DeBartolos have cast a whole new light on the issue. The DeBartolos want a revenue guarantee and exclusive rights to potential bettors within 100 miles of Oklahoma City. This morning at the Oklahoma City Council meeting, members of the council discussed the DeBartolo issue. Next Monday, the Racing Commission will act on the DeBartolos' demands. The mayor believes supporters of the group should be at that meeting in force. Coates and the council desperately want the track here. They believe it would be an economic boom to the city. And Andy Coates is telling the council that it's time to back the DeBartolos 100%.
I think there's some concern that the anti-forces will be out there in great force. I had the privilege of going out there to speak for the one-track rule when it was, the chambers were full of folk from Tractorville and Enid and other places, and I almost got lynched before I got out of there. And so I certainly understand the dangers in that, too. So I do hope that we get a good representative group of people who support it.
Mayor Coates and Councilman Corey James are spearheading the drive to get the track in northeast Oklahoma City. And they say it is crucial that support be shown at next Monday's Racing Commission meeting. They say it's time to finally prove to the commission that Oklahoma City does indeed want the DeBartolos. Kevin Ogle, News 4, City Hall.
Within a span of 24 hours, customers of Elk City State Bank pulled out an estimated $6 million.
At this point, efforts are being made to locate an assuming bank. Please pay attention to the local newspaper and media concerning future developments. All insured deposits up to $100,000 are safe. And that's all I have. Thank you.
But even before the run, this rural bank was dangerously close to insolvency. State Banking Commissioner Robert Empey had given owners until Monday to raise the capital to keep the lending institution open. But by 10 o'clock this morning, it was clear that deal would have to be broken. Depositors fearing the worst were lining up at Elk City State, demanding their money.
Earlier this morning, there was what is so-called a run, where many of the depositors from word on the street came in and wanted to withdraw their deposits from the bank. Therefore, the bank had liquidity problem, causing the bank to close. Once we get through with the books, the bank will probably show an insolvent condition.
Today, depositors were more curious than frightful of the bank failure. Several came by hoping to get funds. Others recalled trying to get money yesterday, but couldn't because of the long lines.
They assured me that my finances are safe.
But you did pull money out?
A little.
I went there and sat down, and it was a lot of people in here yesterday, just getting their money out.
Why didn't you get your money out?
There'll be a bank here probably. I'm confident.
The safety of depositors' money is not in question, but the future of this bank is. The FDIC will hold a meeting tomorrow to try and find new owners. But if that doesn't work, liquidation could begin as early as Tuesday. Kurt Autry, News 4, Elk City.
We have seen Libya, of course, increase its sponsorship of terms about it. We've already done a great deal about it. I think you can categorize. We know for a fact that we have corrected a number of our deficiencies, primarily in the personnel area, and we've seen a stream of new weapon systems come into the inventory, as well as improvements in other shortcomings. And I think I've seen dramatic improvement in the last 5 or 6 years, and I'm quite pleased with the soundness of the military, the morale of the military, and how we're doing.
Either y'all cannot read the ballot that we voted on, or I can only assume that you and the governor and I are the biggest crooks this state has ever seen.
That was the kind of day it was for the State Racing Commission and the DeBartolo Corporation. A public hearing was held to discuss the group's demands for a racetrack in Oklahoma City, and the opposition was out in force. The DeBartolos want a revenue guarantee and a promise that they will be the only major track within 100 miles of Oklahoma City. That guarantees their market area. But residents from rural counties that have passed pari-mutuel say they are being cheated, and they want the commission to turn down the DeBartolo request. Opponents argue that DeBartolo has been granted a license and doesn't need any special favors.
You know, all these are nice-looking men. Don't have any reason to doubt any one of them. But they ain't give me the license in Oklahoma City. I haven't got $7 to $8 million one thing, and, probably never will. But you can bet one thing. I'd have it by dark if I had y'all's license.
The DeBartolos insist they need the radius and money guarantees to make their operation successful. They told the commission that oversaturation of any racing market means bankruptcy for every track in that market. And to dispel rumors that they were not serious about locating here, DeBartolo's top man in Oklahoma City gave the commission this promise.
We even committed voluntarily a $4 million performance deposit to show good faith in response to unfair rumors that continue to circulate about our company and our intent here in Oklahoma. We ask this commission today to rule favorably on these two important issues so that we can finally show Oklahoma that we're sincere. All we're saying to you is award us a license and let's race.
Although they want to build here, DeBartolo officials say they must have their guarantees. They produced a map and chart that indicate a dying racing industry in New England, where 6 out of 8 tracks have gone under due to oversaturation. DeBartolo is determined not to fall victim to that same problem in Oklahoma. The arguments are complete on both sides now, and the Racing Commission is scheduled to make a final ruling on the zoo track issue Wednesday. Kevin Ogle, News 4.
You're under arrest for driving under the influence of alcohol.
A third conviction for drunk driving in Oklahoma will put you in jail. You'll most likely land in one of 2 state institutions designed to dry a person out. However, it doesn't mean that the offender will walk out cured. In fact, many times they go back to drinking and driving and finding their way back to jail. This vacant building in Oklahoma City will soon be a home to many of those people who leave state institutions but need more time to adjust. This will soon be a halfway house. Right now, it's a deserted old schoolhouse left to the elements. But by April 1st, it will take on a whole new life.
They'll be going out in the world, working in reality, and coming back in.
George Housewright will work at the center as more or less a guidance counselor. The building will house 28 people initially, people who have left the state-run institutions but need a place to live while they slowly work their way back into society.
I think that any part of chemical addiction that turns to any drug is a slow process of suicide. It's death row. But a man who wants to, or a woman who wants to live again, they have a chance. I think this puts the final touches upon what life is all about, the halfway house. And many will want to come here first before they go back out there.
Officials here at the halfway house say some patients who leave state hospitals are scared just to walk out the door. They realize they need more help. This facility will offer them that alternative, give them a chance to function in the real world and start their lives again. Kevin Ogle, News 4. These Oklahoma City residents are looking for an opportunity, and they may have found one in Texas. These people are applying for a job on the Dallas Police Department. Today, recruiters from the Dallas PD were in town looking for new help. A rookie cop in Dallas makes over $22,000 his first year on the job. Oklahoma City's pay scale is $13,500 for a rookie. One retired police veteran from Oklahoma City says there's no comparison.
Would you do it again here in Oklahoma City?
Not at this time. I feel the opportunity is better other places.
Why not here?
They just have better incentive programs in other states at this time.
This is a new market for us. Usually Oklahoma was pretty strong in the economy, and a lot of people weren't going to leave Oklahoma. Now with the oil going the way it is now, we found a new market, and it's even closer to Dallas, which makes it a lot cost effective for us.
The applicants are required to have at least 2 years of a college education, and they must pass a rigid screening process. Current Oklahoma City policemen were not eligible to apply, but there are plenty of other people willing to make the move to Texas. Even though police officials in Oklahoma City are arguing for more money, the city's budget outlook is bleak. And so for now, the applicants today see a brighter future south of the Red River. Kevin Ogle, News 4. When the decision was finally made, the layoffs began quickly. Already today, as many as 180 people have lost their jobs, and it looks like the number will go even higher. The office headquarters that have been located here for 50 years will be moved to York, Pennsylvania, and the company will be streamlined.
So many rumors were going around that there was going to be layoffs and that they were going to close down.
The people who were fired had speculated for weeks that their jobs were in jeopardy, even though they had been told only 2 months ago not to worry.
I didn't believe them at the time. I felt like they were trying to just keep us there as long as they needed us. And then when some of the higher-ups said that they were going to stay there even if we all went under, they were going to stay there and go under with us, and about 2 weeks after they told us that, they had resigned and already had new positions elsewhere.
I'll just tell you about
the news of the layoffs hit hard at the Chamber of Commerce. Chamber officials have been trying to convince the new TG&Y owners not to move, but it didn't work. Now they will try and salvage what they can.
We do think there is a possibility that there could be a regional office for the new situation here in Oklahoma City. How many people that will employ, we do not know. Also, TG&Y has extensive warehousing operations in and around Oklahoma City. So we would be hopeful that the warehouses would stay and that operation would remain intact.
TG&Y officials refuse to comment on camera, but they say the layoffs will continue. The reduction should be complete by October. The company will evaluate each store, and they say the majority will remain open, but for how long, no one is sure. Meanwhile, laid-off employees will receive their severance pay and begin the search for a new job. Kevin Ogle, News 4.
When the weather breaks and homeowners get their first taste of spring, yard work seems to dominate weekend plans. After all, roses need to be planted and flower beds cleaned. But gardening experts will tell you now is not the time to invest in outdoor plants. This recent warm weather has had garden stores packed. Many people are buying the wrong things at the wrong time.
Well, we try to tell them that what is hardy, what is not, what is risky. Unfortunately, a lot of them say, oh, well, it's only 35 cents or a few bucks, so if I get wiped out, I'll do it again. They just really get the bug.
If you feel an uncontrollable urge to spend money on your yard this weekend, there are a few sensible purchases. Fertilizer and weed killer. Now is a good time to get the jump on broadleaf weeds that love to grow in Bermuda grass. March is also a good month to plant fruit trees, and it wouldn't be a bad idea to plant a few shrubs now. Keep in mind there are a lot of vegetables that just won't live outside of a hothouse this time of year.
I brought in tomato plants today because we've had such a demand for tomato plants. It's too early to put tomato plants out, but if they're prepared, now if people want to do it and go through the trouble, they can raise tomato plants.
The second quarter were counted, and the Hotel Association had polled 55.
That analysis and on an item-by-item basis, Mr. Bound says the report, so to speak.
There's many loans that are in deep.
On the advisory.
There's many loans that are in default. Occupancy is down, and there's, as you know, but there's massive layoffs and salary cutbacks, and I imagine of all the years that especially the last 3 years have been bad, but in the last 6 months we've had a drastic cutback in the hotel business.
he's entitled to the same thing that you or I would have, that he's innocent until proved guilty. If he's proved guilty, then we'll have to take another look at it. But